Welcome to the NFL Saturday podcast. This is Amp, and I'm here to catch you up on fantasy football for the week, and we'll have some fun along the way. Today, I am joined by my co-host, Scotty.
Woo! Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me. I'm glad you could join us again, and definitely hoping this will be a weekly thing for you to come on.
I'm on board. I got my... I made room in my schedule every Saturday now. It's going to be a done deal.
Screw work. You'll be taking breaks.
Sign the contract. I'm in.
Awesome. Well, before we get into the episode, I want to give you your fun fact of the day. Are you ready for this, Scotty?
All right. I am ready for the fun fact.
All right. So today we are obviously going to be talking about trades. So I thought the fun fact would be the most players ever involved in a trade. And it was between the Baltimore Colts and Cleveland Browns in 1953. If you had to guess how many players they swapped, what would you guess?
I would guess 7.
It was 15.
What in the world?
And this is no picks.
Starting lineup.
No picks. It was, yeah. The Colts received 10 players, and ironically, one of them was actually Don Shula when he played.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the Colts got a quarterback, 4 offensive linemen, 3 DBs, an edge rusher, and a linebacker.
Wow.
I know, right? A pretty crazy trade. The Browns received 5, obviously, and they got a linebacker, a defensive tackle, 2 offensive linemen, and a DB. So, not really sure what happened. Maybe like they had like a fight in the locker room or something, and they had to like get rid of half the team.
that takes time out to a whole different level. Instead of going to sit in the corner, you went to a different city.
Exactly.
Oh, 15.
I know, and there actually was another trade with 18 picks and players, but like it was like 9 picks or something. So I thought this one was like more crazy because it was actual players. So
I wonder if we could go back and if they were like just trading the rights to players, or they actually traded 15 like active players who were still playing.
Oh yeah, it seemed like they were active players, but
like how MLB teams are still trading the rights to Russell Wilson, even though he may never play.
Russell Wilson? Do you mean
didn't he get drafted in baseball?
Oh, you mean Kyler Murray?
No.
Oh, okay. Russell Wilson got drafted too? What?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I didn't know this. I know Kyler Murray was like in the first round in baseball and football. I didn't know Russell Wilson was.
There were several football players that were multi-sport talents, but don't fact check me on that.
Russell Wilson would be an interesting one. But I mean, I would assume they were all players at that time.
That's a fair assumption.
Yeah, who I don't really know. I guess it didn't really give me any details when I looked it up. So
yeah, that's ancient history at this point. You're not going to get like detailed stories like you would today.
Yeah, exactly. But it's still pretty crazy trade.
That is 15. My jaw is still dropped at that. 15 is a wild number.
Yeah, imagine if that happened like today, just like the entire team.
At least those cities are fairly close to each other.
Yeah, that's true.
They didn't have to go too far.
That is true. And probably back then, I don't know if the stadiums were closer, but it was like a lot of the teams were just in the East Coast, like upper East Coast region. So
yeah, fair point.
I guess we can get into the main topic today, which is going to be the trades that have happened and also some rumors. So, but before, I guess we should talk about our betting challenge, because it's been a pretty crazy week. Some massive fluctuations, because Scotty was down like what, you were down like 30K, and then you came back and were up like 20K, and now you're only 3K ahead of me. So
I did go for a wild ride. I think I was at minimum. I had like maybe 65K. Then I went up to 122K, and I think I just landed at 95,000 after a rough morning.
Yeah, and I'm at 92,000 right now. So, and if you haven't listened to another episode, our challenge is we have fake money, $100,000, and we're trying to run it up to 1 million or not lose it all. So, that's the
So
goal.
far we're just, it's been what, like a week and a half, and we're just hovering right at starting. So I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, I mean, you've been really close to winning huge. I mean, you almost won 100K off of one of the bets on the parlays.
but I was also down to 50K, so my consistency is questionable.
Yeah, but my stress levels are high. So, anyway, I guess, is there anything else you want to mention about the betting challenge while we're here?
I think I will bold predict that this time next week one of us will have lost. One of
No
us will have
shot.
reached $0 at this.
The only chance is that I lose, like, because I have like 40K today and I lose it all. So,
We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. We'll
again, we're
keep
gonna find
everybody
out in a
updated.
couple hours.
Hopefully, there's still a segment to talk about next Saturday.
I know, right? I know. We might just have to skip it, put it on the back burner, or just play the audio of like us eating the hot wings or whatever, and just
Ooh, oh my
dying.
god, it's just gonna be like
I know, just the heavy breathing.
it's gonna be like ASMR heavy breathing.
Yeah, it is gonna sound like you're moaning or something. So,
Oh god. Moving on.
moving on. Anyway, one thing I did want to talk about was Devonte Adams pushing the cameraman. Um, and
Ooh,
we were talking about this, how the cameraman filed a lawsuit, a civil
correct.
suit. Was it a civil suit, or I don't know? It was a civil suit, or
So a
I don't
civil
know.
suit is when you
Press
just ask for
charges.
money. I believe
Okay, so it wasn't a
he
civil suit.
pressed criminal charges, and the lawsuit is attached to it. So it's a criminal lawsuit for
Jeez.
sure.
Okay, and we were talking about this, and we weren't 100% clear because we saw he was on the commissioner exempt list now, and I wasn't 100% what that meant. So Scotty actually looked that up. So do you have an explanation for us?
The commissioner exempt list is when only Roger Goodell, specifically just him himself, has the power to decide a player can remain on a team, still get paid as if he was playing, but not count towards your 53 active man roster. So
Got you.
if a
Okay.
suspension is coming down the pipeline, Goodell can say, all right, put him on the exempt list, keep him on your team. We're still going to pay him, but you can also replace him. Don't put him on the IR, and bring in another guy to take his spot. So it sort of
Got you.
protects the team from unprecedented circumstances, such as a midseason lawsuit, potential suspension.
Yeah, and that would be one thing that I would be surprised if it did happen mid-season, because
Correct.
it kind of reminds me of Alvin Kamara's ongoing
It,
situation.
it correct.
So I think, and Alvin Kamara's is like 100 times worse. Like he literally like almost killed a guy. So, um,
Fair. That
it's
was a bar
yeah,
fight, correct?
yeah, and he like beat the living crap out of him.
Yeah.
So
Devontae Adams is like playground pushing and shoving compared to that.
yeah, and I mean, I do kind of want, because like I've heard like, or I've seen posts from like actual other NFL photographers, and they said they would never like do this to like an NFL player. So part of me does wonder if it is because of the rivalry. Because I mean, obviously, you shouldn't just be pushing random people, but he did kind of come out of nowhere, looking at the other angle.
Yeah,
And
I was really torn.
yeah, I was torn too. Like, I don't think he should have pushed. Like, you shouldn't just be pushing people that like run
Yeah.
into you. So that's not good. But it also isn't as bad as like he intentionally pushed the guy. You know?
Yeah, I feel like if someone accidentally runs in front of you, like I feel like my human instinct would be like to grab the person and make sure nobody fell. Whereas
Yeah,
Devontae
exactly.
Adams' instinct was to shove him down, stare him down as he was on the ground, not offer to help him up and just keep walking. It was pretty
Yeah.
cold hearted. So I think
Well,
they're
have
taking
have
that
you?
into consideration.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And I mean, have you seen the Jalen Hurts when it was Washington last year at Washington, where
Yeah, when the
the
stands fell, right?
yeah the stand fell and like he like was immediately trying to catch people and like help them up. And
Yeah, it's just you
I
can
mean,
tell the kind of
that's I feel
person
like
he
that
is
would be
based
my
on that.
instinct too. Yeah.
Yeah, you could just tell the kind of person somebody is based on those situations. And I feel like Devontae
Yeah,
Adams, his popularity is going to take a little bit of a dive after that one.
I can totally see that, and I don't think he's necessarily he maybe just might be like super passionate too. Like we've seen this before. Like, I mean, you see every week Tom Brady is yelling at his teammates and like
Oh,
doing
it's
crazy
no
stuff like
surprise
this.
when
Yeah,
his excuse was, "We just lost. I was upset. I'm just trying to get off the field, and this guy ran in front of me." Like
yeah,
I can
but I feel
totally
like
see
that wouldn't
his
be like
side.
yeah,
He should have been more apologetic in the moment.
yeah,
Anything he said afterwards, actions speak louder than words.
yeah.
So the way he handled it in the moment can't be overshadowed by his apology.
Yeah, and I think he actually did this before last year where
Ooh.
he accidentally did push someone and then he immediately helped them up and was like apologizing right away.
So they won that
So
game.
yeah, they won that game. So, so that does like I don't know. It's a weird situation overall. Um
It's gonna be case by case depending on his mood,
yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, at least he's not swinging helmets at people. So,
Miles
uh,
Garrett.
yeah, exactly. I guess we'll move on though to the main topic,
Yeah, we can.
which yeah, we're gonna talk about the trades that have happened and also rumors about possible trades because the deadline is coming up and we got some exciting drama. I think we can talk about a lot of players. I guess there's only been two major trades, so we can talk about Christian McCaffrey first, the massive trade
I
that
mean,
happened.
the trade. Yeah.
Yeah, the trade. What are your opinions, I guess, fantasy football wise? What are your opinions? Because you have Christian McCaffrey in our
I was gonna
league,
say
so
I can speak to this. Um, this week in particular, obviously, I'm excited that he's off of that team where everyone seems to be trying to escape the coaching staff and Baker Mayfield. You don't ever want to own somebody on that kind of team where everything seems to be trending down. So just to get him in a new environment is exciting. But
yeah.
this week in particular, I'm not excited that the coach said he might only get, red zone touches and that's it. So this week in
Yeah,
particular,
that's
my head's down a little bit.
no, I'm the same way because I do have Christian McCaffrey in a best ball, so it's not as dire for me because if he doesn't play well, then I don't mind because I
Hmm.
have like other
Hmm.
really good running backs. So I'm not like super stressed about it, but I'm definitely not expecting anything major this week. Um, but then again, like if he's gonna get a touchdown or two, like then
Yeah,
it's
I
kind
mean
of worrying. So
that boosts the numbers. The amount of talent around him is unbelievable. When you got
yeah,
Debo and Ayuk, Kittle. I mean, you got all these guys, and when he was in Carolina, you can just focus on McCaffrey because who
yeah.
else are you going to give the ball to? But
Do
now,
are you worried about his volume going forward? Like
oh,
not this week, but
absolutely.
like because
As he
I'm
settles into the
actually the
offense, I'm
opposite.
absolutely worried. Really?
I'm I think because the Niners like have continuously tried to make someone a bell cow, and they essentially like last year like they had like five different running backs who all had like 20 plus point weeks, and
Fair
I
enough.
really they're really good at scheming runs, so I think he's gonna like have a great like I think this will be good for him long term, but and especially because he's been most of his concern is around his injury history, and I'm not worried about that anymore. Like, no, well, I don't know. Maybe I am because of the
Don't jinx
history
me
of
like that,
San
brother.
Francisco. Yeah, but his volume is not. He's not going to have as much volume, so he won't be like run down to the ground like he was in Carolina.
Correct. He might have just added a couple years to his career getting out of there.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, but
I think
I see your concern though.
long term as he settles down into the team, knows the whole playbook. The coach already said we're specifically going to draw up a whole new batch of plays specifically for what we know he's capable of. That
Yeah,
speaks to the level of involvement he'll have. So I'm
I agree.
excited. Whether he does well or not, the prospect of him on a new team is exciting.
All right, I guess that's all we have to say about McCaffrey. Nothing. I think we kind of
Yeah, I
covered
think
that
we
all.
covered it.
Uh, so I guess next trade is Robbie Anderson, also formerly Carolina Panther. Um,
Correct.
do you think I at first I was before we saw Thursday Night Football, I was a little like maybe he'll do something, maybe they'll use him. And after seeing DeAndre Hopkins, I am not sure they'll use him at all. So, what do you think?
And they have Rondell Moore.
Yep.
I mean, I Zach
I
Ertz.
don't know
I
what
don't.
Arizona. Yeah, I don't know what Arizona was thinking with this trade because
To be fair, they only gave up a sixth and a seventh round pick in 24 and year
yeah,
25, so they didn't give up anything. But
I guess that's not huge. Yeah,
what are they gonna like? Where does his volume come from?
I have no clue. I mean,
Me
for
either.
fantasy football, I think he's dead. I mean, he was already
Yeah,
kind of dead, but
correct. He will be. He'll be the next
um,
person I drop when I make a pickup. 100%.
and overall, I think Robbie Anderson is just a very um, I don't even know like the whole situation of him blowing up on the sidelines and then essentially getting rewarded because he didn't want to be there anymore anyway. I think is really funny.
It is such a weird. Why not just cut the guy?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they got picks, I guess, for him, but I
Yeah,
feel like that's why I was surprised they gave up any picks, and I think that was because I feel like they would have cut him. Like, so
yeah.
I don't know.
Arizona should have just sat back and said, like, look, clearly he's done there. If he's getting in arguments and clenching a fist as if he's going to punch the coach, he's done.
Yeah,
So just wait a week and pick him up for probably free, basically.
exactly. Yeah, I don't really know what they were super thinking. I mean, it sucks that Hollywood Brown is going to be out for at least a month. I think he'll be out longer than
Yeah,
that.
he was doing so
Um,
well.
yeah, he was killing it, and I don't think that role will just be replaced super easily. So
No,
I don't
Robbie
know.
Anderson
We'll see.
absolutely does not just slip into that role. No chance.
Definitely not. Yeah. Overall, though, I mean, I think I just I don't know what to think about like any any of the options in Arizona besides DeAndre Hopkins. So I'm just kind of staying away for now.
The
Um,
young guy Rondell Moore, he had a really good week 6, and then he came in
yeah,
on Thursday Night Football and he got targeted once and caught it for like over 30 yards,
yeah, and
and
then
then we
was
didn't see him again the
non-existent.
rest of the game. Yeah, so
I had him in a daily fantasy lineup, so
yeah,
I definitely was there.
but I think it's safe to say we can call Robbie Anderson irrelevant. I mean, he doesn't deserve a spot on a team unless you have like a really deep roster and you want to keep him just in case. He's droppable 100%.
I totally agree. I 100% agree. Is I guess I do have. I think we should talk about the Panthers and kind of who's behind there because we didn't really talk about that with Christian McCaffrey. So we can kind of talk about, I guess, the Panthers running back situation. So do you think is it Deontay Foreman or is it
Deonta, one
yeah?
or the other.
I think it's Deontay, but I don't. Is do you think he is going to be the starter, or do you, I guess it's what's the other guy's name? Bonham or
Chuba
something?
Hubbard.
Bonham? No, it's Chuba Hubbard. That's right, Chuba. I don't know where
I'm calling him
Bonham.
Chubba. Chubba Hubba. Just
Chuba
sounds like the bubble
Chuba
gum.
Hubba.
Hubba Bubba. Chubba
Yeah, the
Bubba.
it does sound like the bubble gum.
I think it's a
But
committee.
yeah, you think so? I I
They've
picked
both
up.
shown
Yeah,
a little something
they
something.
have. I do agree. I don't think it will be like a crazy timeshare. But I did pick up Foreman in our league just because he was there, and um, I just kind of wanted to have him, so just in
That,
case as an
that's
option.
that's a fair pickup. I do think he's the person that they'll give him more touches and give him a chance to take the role. Whether or not he earns it, I guess, is what we'll see on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so I guess that will be a big thing that we'll have to wait and see because I don't know. I'm hopeful that Carolina will have some production, but I I just don't know. I mean, they're really tanking and they don't have. I feel like maybe garbage time stuff, but it's
Um,
it's still like a. If you're playing Deonta Foreman, it's like desperation, like bye week desperation.
completely agree. Like we talked about Kenny Pickett last week.
Yeah.
If you're choosing between PJ Walker and Kenny Pickett, you have worse time. You have bigger problems, so they say.
Yeah, if you're choosing between Matt Ryan, Russell Wilson, and Kenny Pickett, you really have some big problems there.
Really putting yourself between a rock, and a hard place there.
And for listeners that don't know,
Uh,
those are my starting QBs in our 2 QB league. So yes, that is my situation.
I have Jalen Hurts, but my other two options aren't.
Oh no,
I
Geno
guess
Smith has been good. He's been pretty
Geno Smith
good
has
this whole
been
year.
on the upside, but questionable. And Daniel Jones, he hovers around like 15, 16 points each week, which is
Hey,
not
I would take
quarterback
that.
level numbers. I mean, I know you
I
would, but
would gladly take that.
all right. I did have one more question about Carolina.
Yeah,
Is there anybody on that team from a receiver slash tight end standpoint that you would ever play? You'd ever put in your lineup?
I guess we can. My answer will transition us into the new topic, which is the trade rumors, because DJ Moore is also a trade rumor, but he's also the only person that I would possibly like take a dart throw on because he'll eventually like have that big game, like it's got to happen, right? He always has like 4 games a year where he gets like 40 fantasy points or something.
You just got to hope that you had him in your lineup when that happens.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I do agree he is the only player in the conversation that has any, even if it's minor, relevance to the team right now.
Yeah. And I guess for trade talk wise, do you think DJ Moore will get traded, even though Carolina said that he wouldn't get traded?
I mean, if they did trade him, how bad does that look that you just brought in Mayfield and then every single viable piece of talent around him asked to leave?
Yeah.
I think if you agree to trade him, you're pretty much saying like we're in full on rebuild mode. We're going to be bad for the next 3 or 4 years before you ever hear us in the conversation again. I think they keep him just to save like what little bit of save face.
Yeah. And DJ Moore is very young too. He came into the league when he was like 20, I think. So he is still very young. Um,
That's a good point.
and I, I think they did say they want to rebuild around him. But that said, they said very similar stuff about Christian McCaffrey. So I don't trust them. And I do possibly think they're just trying to play hardball to like get better picks. Um, but if they trade him, like their season is essentially like I'm starting any defense that plays against them, and I'm kind of already doing
Yeah,
that already. But
and if you're in a survivor, pick any team going against Carolina. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
I don't. Carolina still has a top 8 fantasy defense right now, but that's about to go downhill because they're going to be on the field so much more without an offense that can put
Yeah,
together drives. by the end of the game they're going to be getting tired, giving up points. It's going to get real ugly in Carolina, I think, really fast.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Um, I guess we
Who's
can
Carolina's
talk about
kicker?
the next. Who is their kicker? I don't know.
I don't know. I was going to say
I
maybe
don't.
that's
I
like the one guy.
the one guy who improved. I feel like they're a punter. If you have a punting league,
Oh, does any fantasy lineup use punters? That would be
do they?
awesome.
That would be so funny.
I'm going to look it up later.
I guess the next player I wanted to talk about was Chase Claypool because there have been rumors about him possibly getting traded. And do you
I have
think
heard
there's
that
any
as well.
legitimacy? Okay, you have heard that. Cool. So, do you think there's any legitimacy to them trying to trade? Because me personally, I could see it. Mike Tomlin always like if you have a hothead wide receiver, he does not like support that. I guess like he'll put up with it for a couple years, but then he'll trade you away very quickly. So I could totally see them trading him. Do you? Where do you see him possibly going? And I guess same with DJ Moore. Is there any landing spot that you would want to see them go to?
Well, I know for some reason Minnesota is on the market for a wide receiver.
Yeah, I don't know why,
Green,
but hey,
yeah. What else do you need over there? You already have like what's considered to be the best duo right now with Thielen and
yeah,
Jefferson. Green Bay, I've heard, is on the market. Um, Kansas City just restructured Travis Kelsey's contract to free up like almost $4 million in cap space. So they're obviously making a move for somebody.
yeah,
I do think Chase Claypool gets traded before the deadline, which is like a week and a half away.
uh huh.
I think I would like to see him go to Green Bay.
That would be interesting. I mean, I would kind of like that. I think Kansas City would be the other option, but we've kind of seen like Mahomes doesn't necessarily just throw to someone just because they've traded for him or spent money on them. So I think Green Bay would be the safer like fantasy pick, especially because I have Chase Claypool and George Pickens in our fantasy league. It just kind of happened. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I think if he gets traded, it will be much better for me
Oh,
because
absolutely.
George Pickens has already been doing pretty well with Kenny Pickett. So
Mm-hmm.
if he like if Claypool leaves, then I'm happy for both of them essentially for fantasy.
Yeah, you never want two guys on the same team.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't like him to go to Minnesota though, because I mean
Oh, his
he
volume
would.
would be so low.
Yeah, exactly. He would be like a red zone target dart throw essentially, or just hope he gets a touchdown. So
Yep.
that would be my main worry. I guess same thing with DJ Moore. I wouldn't want him to go to I don't know any place they have a bunch of wide receivers. So
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other teams that I've heard. I mean, the Ravens are shopping wide receivers. I mean, obviously they just made a huge signing of a retired player, so
yeah.
I mean maybe they're on the market.
Oh, I totally forgot to make fun of you again for
No, no, no,
Calvin
no.
Benjamin. Yeah, I forgot to say Robbie Anderson, aka Calvin Benjamin, who got
Yep.
traded to the Cardinals. I missed my joke. It's too late now.
It's
Anyway,
fine. For anybody who has no idea what the hell's going on, when the Ravens just signed Deshaun Jackson, I accidentally said that they signed Des Bryant. So
yes. So it's in
I
two
mixed
weeks we have two blunders. It was pretty
I
funny.
mixed up my NFC East wide receivers. Sue me.
I was so confused because I knew Deshaun Jackson got like signed or whatever, and I was just
Mhm.
so confused because I was like Des Bryant.
Yeah,
I thought he was like doing like play-by-play commentary. Like,
yeah. Just I don't know. I don't know what happened. They both their names start with a D. I don't know. I got confused.
that's funny. I guess we can talk about OBJ as well because there have been rumors that he is getting ready to sign with someone. Do you
Yeah.
think he is going? Because he said he wanted a contract like Michael Gallup, who I also think is extremely overpaid.
Absolutely. Him
So
and Christian Kirk, I just don't get it. I didn't
yeah,
get it.
I do think it's like the funniest comparison because whoever, if someone does offer him a contract like that, it will be very overpaid. So, I think it would be a contender who would do it. So, do you think anyone will offer him? I could see the Rams doing it. Um, I don't know if anyone else would even do it though. Like, who else would offer him? Maybe the Chiefs. I don't know.
Allen Robinson did just finally get involved in a big way last week. So
He
maybe if
did,
they start
but
to get more
I do have a
comfortable with
theory.
him, they can get rid of OBJ. I don't know.
Did you realize though that was also Higby got injured in that game? So I think that is side note that if you do have Allen Robinson like me, I do. If Higby is not playing, then you probably want to play Allen Robinson. So just something to
Okay.
keep in mind. I think that was the main reason, but well, who knows?
I did not. I didn't even know Higby got hurt last week. I guess I wasn't watching that game.
Yeah, I think he was like shaken up or something, but I don't. They have a bye week this week, so he'll probably be healthy. But also, that was the first week I didn't play Allen Robinson, so I will
Ah,
be letting everyone know if I'm playing him or not going forward. Because if I'm playing him, you don't want to start him, but if I'm not playing him, then you want to start him. That's essentially
just
the
do the opposite.
yeah. Do the opposite of me. He's my new Amari Cooper because Amari Cooper used to be my curse, where every week I would play him, he would do terrible, and every week I wouldn't, he would go off. So that's Allen Robinson is my new Amari Cooper.
Yeah, and you knew that if he had a 100-yard game, you couldn't play him the next week because he never did well two
Yep,
weeks in a row.
exactly. Or well, that was the thing with Amari Cooper was if I thought that and didn't play him, then he would have a good second week in a row, and then I would play him the third week, and then he wouldn't play good. So
One of those situations where you feel like you can't do anything right.
yeah, no, I literally I had to trade him in a dynasty league because it was like so bad.
Did you get anything good?
Anyway, I think I got um I it, I think it was DeAndre Hopkins because I traded it was like a package deal or it was something like that. It was like a
Gotcha, okay.
package deal. I don't remember exactly. It was either DeAndre Hopkins or Ezekiel Elliott back then. Um, however, I guess that was a very long tangent. So I will try to bring us back to Elijah Moore trade rumors. Um,
Where could he
do
go?
you, yeah, do you think there's any place that he would even? I guess he would have to go someplace where they didn't like. He would have to go to KC or Green Bay, and I think this could be more likely. Of I honestly like he might be the most excited person on this list besides maybe DJ Moore because like if he goes so he has shown flashes. Elijah Moore is just I think he does is a little bit of a hothead. So if he goes someplace where it is like an elite quarterback, I'm more inclined to believe that he'll like put his head down and be like, I don't know, less of a hothead compared to whatever he's doing in New York when they're winning games that he's getting mad he's not getting like that's crazy to me that people are still doing that where they're getting mad that they're not getting targets even though they're winning.
Yeah,
Um,
gone are the days where players just love football and they want their team to win and they're content just to go out there and be a part of a winning team. Now they're beating
yeah,
the Green Bay Packers and other such teams and you're still upset about your participation in the game. I mean, that's wild to
yeah.
me.
The only reason I'll give him some benefit of the doubt is because Denzel Mims. Do you remember Denzel Mims? It was like
Yeah, I
what two
heard
years
he
ago.
also wants out.
But he essentially I feel like Elijah Moore's worried he's gonna become Denzel Mims. Like I could totally see that happening. Like if he stayed in New York and like he essentially just evaporates into nothing, which I don't know. I think it is very strange that that's happening in the locker room
Yeah.
because I I personally think that um, if you're winning, like there shouldn't be issues like this. Is especially if you have a good coach. So I think it might say more about the coach and the environment, but it could just be the play. Like it could just be Elijah Moore being, I don't know, weird.
I think it's specifically him. If you're on a team that was expected to go, 2-15, and you guys are 4-2, second in the division, beating
Yeah,
good teams, just be in the moment. Be happy about that. Because besides,
yeah,
you got Corey Davis, you got Garrett Wilson. I mean, you should be excited that there's not like a huge amount of talent there, and if you behave and put in the work, you could stand out. I mean, just
yeah.
work for it.
I agree. Yeah, I had very confused about that one. I do think if you go somewhere where they do have a really good quarterback and there aren't that many other targets, like we said, Green Bay or Kansas City,
Green Bay,
um,
I think, the whip him into
Green Bay
shape.
would probably be the yeah, exact. Because Aaron Rodgers is like, I don't know, like as much as I hate Aaron Rodgers, he also like definitely would not put up with anything like that. So,
Oh, a
um,
lot of those guys are vets around there. They'd shut him up
yeah,
real quick.
yeah, exactly. Awesome. Well, I guess we can move on to our first running back trade rumor, and that's Cam
Ooh,
Akers.
yep, that was
And
coming down the pipe for a while.
yeah, definitely. We still don't know what happened. We talked about this last week. How we have no clue what happened. Um, I don't think he gets traded, but it's one of those things where what who would even want him, at this point, like he's coming off of an injury and he hasn't been great this year, and he wants like lead carry running back role. So unless someone gets injured, I don't see him going. Maybe Carolina, but like they're not going to trade anything for him.
Yeah, I mean they just got 7 picks. They're not going to give something up for because that would be like they traded McCaffrey for Cam Akers because they
Yeah,
didn't get a lot of
yeah,
good picks.
yeah. And I don't think the Rams even want picks. I could see them cutting Cam Akers though. I mean, that would be the only thing I could see, but I
I
don't know
think
who
that's
would
what's
even want
coming
him. Yeah.
because he couldn't even beat Darrell Henderson for the job. Coming off an injury, obviously there's some discipline issues that they're not disclosing, which is why he is on the bench.
Yeah.
That's not something anybody wants,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
I don't. It's not like a promising prospect. Like, oh yeah, let's bring over that guy who's going to complain if he gets less than 10 touches, even though he fumbles a lot and gets 2.5 yards a carry. Like, that's not exciting for anybody.
And the thing I see is like if someone does have disciplinary issues, I'll at least look into it a little more because a lot of the times maybe they are really good and they're just like a lot, especially in like drafts and stuff. If someone has disciplinary issues and they're falling in the draft, I think that's sometimes a good sign to like. I'll be like, oh, I hope the Eagles get them then because a lot of the times like people will fall that are more talented, but like Cam Akers is not looking talented right now at all. And I think we've seen this in the past where like running backs just do not come back from these ACL injuries and look the same. So um,
Yeah,
I'm
it's been a
definitely
while since
worried
somebody
about
did it.
him. Yeah, and we did talk about this last week how we were very worried already, and I mean, I'm just like cutting all ties if you have him in a league. I don't think it's worth to keep him and hope that he randomly goes to a place that needs a running back suddenly. So, yeah,
I'm trying to think of a team that is currently desperate for a running back.
yeah,
I don't. Nothing immediately pops out besides maybe Carolina.
yeah. I could see Carolina, but again, like we mentioned, like I don't
Yeah,
even
yeah,
know if they
they wouldn't. They
would they
wouldn't
just
trade for him.
focus on
They'd
the
wait for him to
run,
get
like
cut.
defenses. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, they would just wait for him to get cut, and unless you're in a very deep league, I'm not keeping him. So that's
maybe
kind of my
Atlanta
thoughts.
has Algier been
Uh,
doing anything in Atlanta?
yeah, but they also have Damian Williams coming back from injury, so they have him
That's
coming
okay.
back. Cordero Patterson, they have Tyler Algier, they have Caleb Huntley, I
Yeah,
mean,
you're right. You're right. You're right.
and they're winning games too. So I don't think they want to bring like a Cam Akers
That's a good
type.
point. Good point.
But I don't know. It's weird. I have no faith. Um, But yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about him. Do you have anything else?
Um, I think he's done for the year. I think that's about it.
Yeah, I guess now we can talk about the last trade rumor person, and that's Melvin Gordon. I heard some rumors about Melvin Gordon because he was complaining about not being the starter or not getting enough carries, and I don't think they will trade him. But
I don't
when
either.
there's yeah, I mean they still think they can compete this year. I
They're delusional, but okay.
yeah, and I mean with Nathaniel Hackett, I don't think they will compete, but they think they will. So they're going to keep everyone they can. And look, if Melvin Gordon gets traded, I think he could actually have some upside because I think it's really like the coaching is just terrible. Because I mean, when Javonte Williams was there, Melvin Gordon was taking carries from him,
Yeah,
and
and
now
now
that Javonte
Latavius
Williams is
Murray.
gone, Latavius Murray is just the lead back now. It's like what is going on? Like
It's like a
what
Twilight
is this
Zone. It's
coaching?
so
Yeah.
so weird. Completely agree.
And I think it was the did you see his interview where the coach, like, you know how the coach named that he would be the starter, right?
Okay.
And then Melvin Gordon was interviewed and he's like, well, I was the starter last week too, so
Jesus.
so yeah, so I
He's
mean,
just he's just asking for trouble. I
yeah,
do think he's good, and he is sadly the victim of bad coaching, as you said.
yeah.
But I
I
I
see
think he's gonna
I don't
stay.
think he's like, I feel like his scenario is not like, I don't consider him like being like the Elijah Moore or the Robbie Anderson where they freak out. Like, I think he's, the whole team is like very against Russell Wilson and the coaching right now, and they're all very frustrated. So
Mhm.
I think his frustration is like more reasonable. You know, like I'm not. I don't know. I don't think he's going to necessarily get traded because his level of frustration is kind of what I'm seeing from like everyone on the team, you know? Like
Yeah.
everyone is giving like dirty looks at Russell Wilson and
Oh,
like
jeez.
the coaches.
Yeah, this week without Russ is going to be very exciting to see how everybody's morale jumps up.
Yes.
I do agree that it's weird that Melvin Gordon for like the first 3 or 4 weeks when Williams was healthy, they were like even in touches, and Gordon was usually getting like a higher yards per carry.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you see Williams go down, and you're like, okay, well now you have a single guy who's just going to be the bell cow, and now
And he
he's
got less
not
work.
even. Yeah, he's touching the ball less than he was. That blew my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's going on in Denver, but I
I
think
don't
that's
think
all the
Denver knows.
rumors.
I
Yeah.
think
I know.
I think that's every. I think I did have one more.
Did you have one more? That's a good question. Did you have
I
one
wrote it.
more?
I wrote it down.
A spicy rumor that you know that I don't know about
Yes,
with your Baltimore beat reporters.
this one is actually not super relevant to you because Eagles have obviously Miles Sanders and Gainwell, but with their development as like a double-headed dragon, Boston Scott apparently asked to get out of out of Philadelphia. But that's third stringer
Interesting.
asking for a trade is mostly irrelevant. But I just thought that was funny because you're an Eagles fan.
It is kind of funny just because I mean that's a weird person to request. I wouldn't expect Boston Scott to request a trade because I mean, one, they're undefeated, but also like
Yeah, don't you just want the
it's
Super
like
Bowl
what?
ring?
Yeah, what? Who are you gonna go to that like you're gonna get a bigger role? Like, I mean, I get Miles Sanders is becoming the lead back, but like still, I'm surprised about that. Well, who knows? I mean,
Exactly.
we could fill him with like another. I mean, we have Gainwell. We have a couple other running backs too that
You wouldn't
I'm
be upset
blanking
to see
on,
him
like our
go.
fourth string running back's name, but uh, yeah, essentially, I'm not too worried about that. And for fantasy, I mean, yeah, it doesn't really
Irrelevant.
it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter. Awesome. Well, I guess now we'll do Ask Anissa, where I
Ooh.
ask my wife Anissa a fantasy football question, and she knows
All right.
nothing about football. So, Anissa,
Yeah.
which player do you think will get traded? DJ Moore, Cam Akers, or Elijah Moore?
Wait. You said more twice. Okay.
DJ Moore and Elijah Moore.
Okay.
Two.
Elijah.
Elijah
bet
Moore?
on Elijah.
Okay, he'll get traded. All right, Elijah Moore is going to get traded. Now let's play What's Your Prop? Where we pick 3 prop bets for the other person to pick a side. We will keep track of our records and then publicly be punished on the show. So last week, Scotty, you went 1-2, and I went 2-1.
Correct.
It was the first week of playing, so that's our overall record as well. Any thoughts on how last week went before I tell you our interesting fact that I found out?
I was robbed. I should have gone
You were
2-1. Lamar Jackson had 210 passing yards. Our over-under was 211, and they were starting a drive where he obviously would have gotten another 2 yards, but then they fumbled the ball. Oh, so close.
Well, that is interesting because every single prop that we bet hit the under. So if I did go 3 unders like I said I was going to, and originally I would have gone 3-0, and if you went 3 overs like you said you were going to originally, you would have gone 0-3.
Yeah, you did say you're more pessimistic, so you should just go under, under, under.
Yeah, and the one that I didn't hit was Tyler Lockett getting a TD, and he didn't hit it.
2
So
passes.
yeah,
I was very underwhelmed with his performance.
yeah, I should have stuck to my gut, but I just like him so much. I like to root for him, So, what
I
can
was
you do?
supposed to go in 0 for 3 anyway. Michael Pittman, we had an over-under for 22.5. He had a couple 18, 19, 20-yard catches where someone tackled him at the last second where he had a lot of space in front of him. So I very easily could have gone 0-3. I got very lucky to even get one.
It was funny because he did almost nothing in the second half, but in the first half he was getting he was progressively getting more yards. It was 15 yards, 17 yards, 20 yards. It was very stressful for you. I imagine
100%. I was constantly hitting the refresh button on my stat app that I use that tracks receptions, yards, and their longest catch, and his number just kept getting higher and higher, and I'm like, no.
That's so funny. I guess I did start last week, so I think you should start this week with your over-unders. So who do you want to do first?
Ooh, who do I want to do first? That's a different question, my friend. All right, you started with Lamar Jackson last week, so I think I will start with Lamar Jackson this week.
Oh, okay.
All right, this is not an over under. Well, I guess it technically could. I can just do over under 0.5, but essentially it's a yes or no. Will Lamar Jackson score a non-passing touchdown in the game versus Cleveland?
Versus Cleveland.
We dominated them both times.
This is I think I got to say yes. I got to go with Lamar. I got to. Yeah, I'm doing what you did last week. I'm winning this over bet.
All right, let's go. You say Lamar Jackson will score a touchdown either with his feet or, if he caught a touchdown, that would technically be applicable to this question.
Yeah. Awesome. So I guess I then will start with my fun pick as well. My actual fun pick for you, because I think this is a interesting one, and that's Kenneth Walker. And it is over or under 70 rushing yards.
Kenneth Walker over under 70.
Yes.
They are. They're on the road. They're underdogs.
Good matchup, though.
Yeah, they're playing the Chargers. Lockett's still nursing an injury.
The over-under is 50.5 points.
All right, I'm gonna regret this, but I'm gonna put faith in a man whose name is Walk. and I'm going to think that he can run for over 70.5. Give me the over. I just have faith in the kid. Right. He's good. He's good. He impressed me
taking
last
the
week.
over, everyone. Awesome. So what's your second pick then for me?
All right. This one, I might be giving you a free point. But the coaches have said he's going to play. They went from we're not sure to we're getting him involved. And it's in what I believe an above average matchup. All right. Does a brand new 49er, Christian McCaffrey, record over 7.5 rushing attempts?
Ooh, attempts?
Rushing attempts. Do they trust him enough without the playbook, without any chemistry, to put the ball in his hand 8 times? Over, under 7.5.
You know, I think I'm going to have to take the under.
8.5, but I'm giving you 7.5.
I think I'm going to have to take the under. I think it's going to be under.
All right.
And you have fallen right into my trap card, sir, because I am going to have my second prop as the real San Francisco starting running back, Jeff Wilson. And
all right, let's
over under 50 rushing yards for Jeff Wilson.
Give me the under.
You want the under?
Give me the under. Right,
I'm going taking
over
the
on
under.
McCaffrey. I'm going under on yours. Let's go.
Well, so I'm going under on 7.5 rushing attempts, and you're going under on 50 rushing yards. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I think we're both just going to be. You're going to be wrong in assuming that McCaffrey will have a low volume, which means you're also wrong about Wilson's high volume. Yeah. So I just get to double dip
high stakes
here.
Situation.
I get to double dip. He's going to go over and dominate the yards.
Awesome. All right. Well, I guess what's your last pick then, since you fell into my trap?
Kaiba. little Yu-Gi-Oh reference there. All right. My last one. We got the Houston Texans coming off of a bye week. So Brandon Cooks has had a little time to heal up from a couple minor injuries that he was facing. Over or under 4.5 receptions in the game. Houston
over.
Texans
Slam
in
it.
Las
over.
Vegas.
I'm slamming it the over. I'm slamming this so hard. Over. We are slamming this over.
You want me to raise it? 6.5?
Nope. No.
Where are you at on 6.5?
Now you're stressing me out.
All right, over 4.5. Coming back off the bye week on the road. All right.
Awesome. And my last pick will be Kyler Murray. Over under 10 hours played of college. No, I'm kidding.
no, let me answer that. 100% over. He has between now until like Tuesday when they have to practice again. That's all he's doing.
Jokes aside, my real last over under is Deonta Foreman. Over under 40 rushing yards.
Against Tampa Bay's defense.
Yes.
Give me the... Jesus, that's such a low number. Man, I'm going to say under, but he's going over. I believe in my gut that he'll go over, but based on the matchup and the situation, I got to go under.
So
but if he gets the over, I'll be happy for him.
For your 3 picks, Jeff Wilson under 50 yards, Deonta Foreman under 40 yards, and then Kenneth Walker over 70 yards. All rushing yards, not total.
Correct. And for yours, you said that Lamar Jackson will score a non-passing TD. Brandon Cooks will have over 4.5 receptions, and you think McCaffrey will not go over 7.5 rushing attempts. You have the under.
Yes, sir.
All right. Sir. Let's see if I can. I have a feeling I'm going to go 3-0 and catch up this week.
We'll see.
Back in the game.
If you go 3-0, you're probably passing me. So, because I had 2 overs, and if anyone knows, that means I'm going 1-2. So, um,
You went
awesome.
against
Well,
your pessimistic outlook this week.
I did. And it's gonna fail me. Um, you good over there? If it's like drowning.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's okay. I was worried for you.
I dropped the microphone and I caught it by the cable and it was like swinging. I'm good.
You're swinging your mic. Okay,
By
copy.
accident. By accident.
Awesome. Well, I think now we can go into a couple matchups for week 6. Just talk about them real quick before we end the episode. Um, maybe talk about them for a little longer. Who knows? I guess the first one I wanted to talk about was the Lions and Cowboys. You mentioned that you wanted to talk about Dak Prescott, so I'll give you the floor. You can start off with Dak Prescott.
I am shocked. I wasn't ready to see Cooper Rush go. Obviously, Dak Prescott got paid. It's his team. He comes back. He plays. I wasn't ready to stop watching Cooper Rush. He didn't ever put up like a bunch of flashy numbers, but he seemed to navigate the situation. He had control of the team. Nobody seemed to hate him in his couple games that he played. But it is too good of a situation for Dak. He gets to come back from an injury. The team just came off of a loss, and they're going against the worst defense in the league right now. So it's too good of a situation not to put Dak in. So I understand it. I think he'll do well, but I just wasn't ready to see Cooper Rush go.
See, I have a different opinion on this. I think Dak will come back and not play well right away. And I think he's. The issue, however, is that the Lions have a terrible run defense. So I'm not worried about the Cowboys winning, but, well, I'm worried that they're going to win because I don't want them to win. But
Correct. Eagles fan.
yes. For fantasy players, though, I think the Cowboys will do well. Besides Dak, I don't think Dak will do well. I think he'll get like 15 points maybe for fantasy. And also I don't think the receivers will do great. I think he's going to come back and just be mediocre. I mean, we saw him week 1 kind of just collapse against Tampa Bay, so you never know.
You do never know. I did finally slide Ezekiel Elliott back into the starting lineup after about a 3-week hiatus. So I am expecting, like you said, the run defense of Detroit to not be there. So I'm taking advantage of the matchup.
I think it's a good pick, solid pick. And I guess on the Lions I don't know. I'm still like hesitant on Goff because of what he did 2 weeks ago. He just was so bad. But I think he'll be fine. Amon-Ra St. Brown is coming back too. So I think it will be a pretty high scoring game overall.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think Dak will be the one getting a lot of the points. I think it will be mainly running. I think the Cowboys are literally just going to go off running the ball. So
I think that's a fair point. So what do you think that means for the overall? Do you think it's going to be like a shootout, or do you think it's going to be like a low scoring game that Dallas is able to squeak out a win?
I think it will be high scoring, but I think it will be like. I don't think it will be like a shootout. I think it will be more like Dallas pulls ahead and then Detroit barely almost comes back, but they don't because they always do that.
Okay, that's a good script. That's a good script.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I don't think it's going to be like a 60, 70 point game that we're used to seeing out of Detroit.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think hopefully not, but the Lions offense might be figured out now based on, was it when they played the Patriots, I think? Or was it? Yeah, it was the Patriots.
Where they got shut out by the Patriots. Yep.
Yeah, so hopefully they figured it out after the bye, but definitely a little worried. Not going to lie.
We're going to see.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, the next matchup I wanted to talk about was actually the Houston Texans versus the Las Vegas Raiders. So, I actually surprisingly think this will be a high scoring game. I know, shocker.
No, I'm with
Shocker
you.
that I picked slammed the over for Brandon Cooks. um, but realistically, I think Damian Pierce is the one that's going to go off, and I think he's going to have an insane game for fantasy, and I would start him if you have him. What are you filing
Absolutely.
something? Are you making a fire?
What? Was there a little bit of feedback? Sorry.
No, it's fine. It sounded like you were filing something. Like
No, nothing.
it was very funny.
I'm doing my nails. This little mani-pedi.
Yeah. Exactly. It would be funny if you can't hear it on the podcast though, because then I just look like a fool right now. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking at least. Do
I'm
you
not
agree that this
surprised.
game is going to be high scoring, or do you think it's going to be low scoring?
No, I agree. You said it was a shocker that you felt that way. I don't think that it is. The Vegas, they have a lot to prove after the past couple weeks. They haven't looked too hot. I mean, the whole season they haven't looked too hot. And obviously Houston's coming off fresh, healthy off of a bye. They're going to want to
Yeah.
compete as well. No, I fully agree with like a 28-25, something like a closer, maybe not that close. I do think that the Vegas Raiders take it away. So maybe 35-21, but they're gonna put up points. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Raiders are going to have like statistically great games. I obviously Devonte Adams, but I also think Josh Jacobs is going to have a great game. Um,
Ooh, you don't hear his
yeah, I
name
think
too often.
I know, right? And then Waller is out, so do they? I don't know who is Foster Moreau still their backup tight end, because he could be a dart throw, or if you're desperate and need a tight end, could be a pickup. Um, don't count me on that though, because I totally forget if he's still on the team. But
I mean, that's you just threw out like a wild name.
yep, I did. And he is still the backup. So Foster Moreau is still. I would play him in daily possibly, or just if you are in bye week like hell and you need a you need a starter. Um, yeah, I don't know if there's any other major player to talk about. I guess we could talk about
Do you?
Hawkinson or any of the running backs on Detroit, but I don't know. What do you think?
Well, if you want to talk about the running backs on Detroit, I think I did briefly see that Swift popped up on the injury report, but with it, there wasn't like a listed reason. So I guess we'll
Well,
hear
it's
about
because
that.
he's recovering. He's been out for like 2 weeks before the bye. So uh,
Okay.
if he's still not playing, then I would I'd be worried that he's not going to play again. But um, I think it's one of those things where if he plays, I'm definitely not playing him. And I would just be more hesitant to play Jamal Williams. I think he's going to be really good. So
Okay.
we'll see. But uh,
Do
I
you
don't know.
think Devonte Adams has any sort of like chip on his shoulder? Like he has to, like, do you feel like they're going to feed him the ball more? Like if he has a good game, maybe it distracts everybody from the other headlines. Like maybe they
Yeah.
have a bit of an extra motivation to really get him out there and perform.
um, I think so. Yeah, probably. I also just realized that I was combining the two games on
You did,
accident.
but it's okay. We can talk about both at
um,
the same time.
yeah,
It's okay.
I meant to talk about the Texans,
I know you
but
said Detroit, so I went with it.
I did say Detroit, so you went with it. Um,
Improvise.
but yeah, I think I do agree that Devonte Adams will have a great game. And I guess on the Texans, the actual opponent of the Raiders, do you think? I mean, you mentioned Brandon Cook in the over under segment. Do you personally think he'll have a good game or not?
I, as a Brandon Cooks owner, and having been disappointed by many of his 1 to 2 catch games, where somehow, even though there's not much else going on there, he's not getting the opportunities. No, I'm not excited about anybody on Houston besides Damian, besides Pierce. He's the
Yeah.
only person I would have confidence in this week, just because he's been so impressive before their bye week.
Yeah. No, I think that's kind of where I'm at. I would, if you are in like a daily fantasy, I would probably play Brandon Cooks as like an option just for the chance that he goes off, you know? Um,
It's probably cheap and daily. I agree with that.
yeah. Yeah, probably pretty cheap. Awesome. Well, I guess the last game I wanted to talk about, and we can talk about a game you want to as well, but I was thinking about the Seahawks and Chargers. I thought that would be another high scoring game. The over under is at 50.5. So I think Vegas also thinks this is going to be a high scoring game. What do you think, though? Do you think the Seahawks will bounce back after not doing anything last week, essentially? They still won, so.
Correct, but it wasn't flashy by any means.
Yeah. I
Um,
guess same with the Chargers, too. The Chargers also against Denver didn't do anything, so.
I contemplated picking Seattle at +4.5 as my pick for other thing, and then I also contemplated using the under 50, but
Yeah.
I didn't. But I do think Seattle wins an ugly game. I think they win a low scoring,
Really?
like just like old school smash mouth. Both teams try to apply the run game. Chargers try to get Eckler
Interesting.
involved. I think it's going to be a low score.
Interesting. I don't think Keenan Allen comes back this week.
Okay.
Which if he does, then oh no, I'm playing him in our league, but only out of desperation. Uh, but that said, I don't think he plays, so I think I could see the Seahawks winning, like you said. Uh, I just I don't know. I don't fully have faith in the Seahawks yet, even though they have been definitely impressive. I don't really believe in them, you know?
They're inconsistent. They come out and they win versus the Cardinals, but then they were made to look silly by the Saints. So it's really hard to put a pin in them. I don't blame you for
Yeah,
having doubts.
definitely. Yeah, that's definitely how I feel. And like their offense, they just got shut down by the Cardinals. It's like, what's going on? Um, I still am starting Gino in my one of my leagues because I have to again.
Yeah, me
Desperation. It's been a
too.
desperate year. It's been a very desperate year. um,
I'm also on the Geno train. I have Jalen Hurts on a bye, so I have to.
oh yeah, you do. I guess the Seahawks wide receivers. Do you agree that Metcalf? This could be his week. You know, I feel like this is a Metcalf game. What do you think?
I think because I took the over on Walker that it's a Walker game. I
Oh,
think
okay.
I think Will Disley scores multiple touchdowns. And no, I'm just kidding. No, of course, DK Metcalf is always the guy. Just like Jamar Chase is always the guy in Cincinnati, and Jefferson's the guy in Minnesota. He's too much of a freak athlete to ignore.
Yeah.
You got to play him every week, 100%.
Yep. I agree.
Especially with Lockett nursing the injury still.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about too. I'm thankfully I don't have to worry about actually choosing to start him because it's best ball that I have him
Best
in.
ball.
But yeah, definitely I'm very worried about him. Just overall, and I I don't know if I'm starting anyone else. Oh, Kenneth Walker, of course, but
Yeah, we're
um,
starting Geno and
yeah,
Walker.
yeah, and then
And
Metcalf, of course, and on the Chargers side, I'm starting all the key players. Also, Gerald Everett, actually, I think he's
oh,
a great play
absolutely.
this week. because the Chargers are the worst against tight ends in the league, by far
Ooh.
too. So they give
Wait,
up like
you mean the
20 points.
Seahawks are the worst against tight ends?
The Seahawks. Yeah, I'm very good at remembering team names, as you can tell. But yeah, the Seahawks are like dead last. I think it was by like an average of 7 points or something like that. It's an insane amount.
Really?
So
Like dead
yeah,
last. Like, jeez.
dead like yeah, by far last. So
Oof.
definitely Gerald Everett. I'm playing in like every daily fantasy lineup.
Okay, okay, okay.
Um, that I can, of course, but. Besides that, Austin Eckler, Mike Williams, Keenan
Yeah.
Allen if I'm desperate, and I'm desperate, uh, and
Does
Justin
that
Herbert,
also
of
mean
course.
you'd start Herbert? Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think he's going to bounce back this week. I mean, they talked about it last week because DraftKings did that crazy bet with the touchdown, but
Yeah,
he's
we
gotten a
talked about that.
touchdown in every game besides last week. So I really do think he's going to bounce back and is against the Seahawks. I think it's probably a good matchup to do so, especially at home. So that's
Okay.
kind of what I'm thinking.
I'm thinking that there's nothing wrong with that. It's funny how we can agree that Seahawks have a chance to win the game, but then when we're listing the individual players that we trust to put in our lineup, there's like 7 Chargers and 2 Seahawks. It's like,
Yeah,
what? But individual talent doesn't always, like, even though Seahawks games are never pretty, they're just finding a way. So
yeah, and I do think the Seahawks play much better at home because of the 12 man. So I'm not fully sold that they're going to beat the Chargers. I do think it's a possibility, but I'm not fully sold. So
no, no. Like I said, I considered betting the Seahawks plus 4.5 and the
oh
under.
yeah,
And after I sat there and thought about it, I wasn't confident enough. We can only pick 4, so I have to be sure about it. So I shied
yeah, that's
away.
true. Yeah, fair point. I guess is there any other matchup that you wanted to talk about before we end the episode?
Do you think this isn't a game that I'm excited about or a game that I will watch if it's on? But do you think Tampa Bay can bounce back after losing an ugly game to Pittsburgh? They're going to play an even uglier game against Carolina, who we discussed has nobody. Can Tampa Bay bounce back?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think it's a lot different than last week. One, they're not playing like an elite coach like Mike Tomlin. Also, the Steelers have been looking better on offense with Kenny Pickett. So, I mean, even though they didn't have him the full game. And on top of that, the only reason Tampa Bay lost was because they could not convert in the red zone. So,
Oh, they got in the red zone like 4 times and just got even they were within the
yeah,
5 yards a couple times and they were just getting field goals. I'm like, come on.
my mom had their kicker in fantasy, and I was playing her.
I'm sure she was
He had
loving
like
it.
6 field goals. Yeah, I was just like, what the heck?
It's like, how do you
He
beat
had like
that?
25 points. Yeah,
That's
more points than
unbelievable.
anyone on my team that week, I think. So,
Ooh, that's bad when a kicker puts up anything more than
uh,
your star players. Oof.
look, last week I think I got 68 points. So, our kicker got a third of my points. More than a third, but
That's when you
it
just
was
like
it
take
was
out
a
your
bad week.
starters and just accept the loss. Just bench everybody
Yeah,
and just
well,
accept it.
I had I had Geno Smith, Mike Williams, Cortland Sutton. Like
Mike
whole
Williams
team
dropped a
was
couple touchdown passes, so
yeah.
that was bad.
It was I'll just say it was a bad week before.
All right,
Don't want
I have
to
one more
complain too
question
much.
for you.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, you're in a 1 QB league. You have to pick one.
Okay.
This week, are you starting Dak at home against Detroit, or are you riding with Joe Burrow?
This thing is, I said I have that gut feeling that Dak won't play well, even though I am playing him in one of my daily lineups. But Joe Burrow, I'm playing in like a lot of my daily lineups. So I think I got to go with Joe Burrow on this one.
All right, Burrow at home versus the Falcons, who looked surprisingly good against San Francisco last week.
Yeah, they did. I'm not 100% confident, but yeah,
All right, we're
gotta
going
stick
with
it out with
Burrow.
Joe.
All right, Joe Cool.
Awesome. Well, I guess that will be it for this episode. It is now time for the strong opinion of the day. And that is that the trade deadline should be earlier in the season